Hello everybody, this is another Hot Wheels Collector video. Today we're looking at the 20 Dodge Charger Hellcats. This car is a brand new recolour for the 2023 N case and is done in a metallic purple colour. So I will mention where I actually bought this car from. So the first time I actually saw it was in an Asda store at £2.40. That's a very expensive price, especially compared to places like B&M, which charge you about £1.69, and Poundland, which charge you £1.50. So pretty much £1 more than places like Poundland, which is crazy. But I didn't actually end up buying it from the Asda store. I later found it, literally a day later, in my second haul of the weekend, on a Saturday. Found it in a local Smyth's toy superstore for £1.69. The reason why I left the one in Asda was because the tamper work was a little bit chewed up. And what I mean by that is it was kind of missing bits here and there. This one is in a much better condition, and honestly there's barely any flaws in the tamper work whatsoever. But anyways, let's get into the facts about the real life car before we get into the actual showcase of the Hot Wheels model. So in real life, this car has a supercharged 6.2 litre Hemi Hellcat V8 engine, which produces 707 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque, converting to 884 newton meters of torque. This car is also rear-wheel drive and goes from 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. Pretty impressive, especially for a rear-wheel drive car. This car also has a pretty decent top speed of 196 miles per hour, converting to 315 kilometers per hour. This car also has an 8-speed automatic gearbox, which obviously enhances its quick acceleration speeds. And obviously this car costs, when new, which is right now essentially, because you could still buy one of these, $73,300. And that converts to about £59,000. But anyways, that's it for the facts about this car. Now let's get into the showcase of the Hot Wheels model. Alright, so kicking off this showcase, we'll first of all take a look at the side of this car, and I will first of all mention the wheel choice on this thing. So this car is rolling on the Y Design 5-spoke wheels, done in a chrome bronze colour. I do quite like that colour, and it obviously does match the tamper work which features on this car. We will get into that in just a second, but first of all I will mention the colour of the rest of the car. It is all done in a metallic dark purple colour. I think that colour does suit this car quite nicely. Right, now on to the tamper work on the side of this car. Let's start off with nearer the rear of the side. So first of all we have this nice striping. So first of all we have this large white stripe, and then we have this bronzy coloured stripe, which is obviously tampered on there. You can also see the SRT logo, which is not actually tampered on there. The way they actually made that was just by not tampering an area, and hence the SRT logo is done in a metallic purple colour, the same as the body of the car. Continuing down the side of the car onto the doors, you can see there are some continued stripes. We have that white stripe continuing, as well as the bronze stripe continuing. However, we have a new stripe, being the black stripe. We also have the Dodge writing done in the bronze colour as well, the same as that bronze stripe. I really do like that colour theme going on, continuing the colour theme which the wheels bring to the car. The final bit of tamper work which we do see on the side of this car is that lovely Hellcat logo, and that is once again done in bronze tamper. Alright, that's it for the tamper work. Now onto the actual casting features on the side of this car. First of all, we can see the two door handles which are in the metal casting. I will mention that this casting does not feature any wing mirrors, unfortunately, and one final thing I'm going to mention is the front windows on this car are wound down. I do think that makes this car look a lot more sporty. But anyways, that's it for the side of this car. Now let's move on to the front of this car. Alright, so taking a look at the front of this car, as you can see there is no tamper work on the front section of this car. They have actually carved out the headlights for you, as well as the grille on this car. However, they do not receive tamper, as I've already said. There is actually a premium version of this car which literally just released last year, that being 2022, in a green colour, which did receive the full tamper treatment. That was featured in the American Seed Mix, and I do aim to bring you that car very shortly. I actually haven't picked up that set yet, but I do intend to. Anyways, continuing with this actual car then, we also have the lower vent, or sort of the main grille, sort of not. The main vent, let's just go with, of this car is actually created using a shutoff, or a hole, in the actual metal casting. This hole does lead to the black interior plastic, making it look a lot more 3D, but also a lot more realistic. Also adding quite a nice colour split. You can also see the front splitter on this car is also created in the actual metal casting, and hence is painted in a metallic purple colour. That is accurate to the car featured on the card art. Now let's move on to the actual hood of this car. There is actually quite a nice amount of tamper work here. So we do have 4 stripes featuring on the hood. We have 2 identical white stripes and 2 identical bronze stripes. The bronze stripes are smaller than the white ones. We also have a few vents in the actual metal casting itself. So the center vent does not lead anywhere, and it's kind of just a fake vent in the metal casting. However, the vent to the left and right do actually lead somewhere, and that being the black interior plastic. Again, that makes it look a lot more 3D and realistic looking. I really do like that detail in this casting. This car was actually a brand new casting for 2021, I believe. So yeah, quite a nice thing to see, especially on a modern casting. You kind of do expect to see them features. One final thing I'm going to mention is you can see some smaller side vents here on the car. They're in the metal casting itself, however they do not receive any tamper treatment. Anyways, that's it for the front of this car. Now let's move on to the next side of this car. Alright, so taking a look at the next side of this car, it is the exact same as the previous, so I'm not going to bore you by going over it all again. The only detail that is actually different on this side of the car is the fuel filler cap is actually in the metal casting itself. Obviously, this car only has one fuel filler cap, and that being on the left side of the car. You can obviously pause the video here if you are looking for something specific, but if not, let's move straight on to the rear of the car. Alright, so taking a look at the rear of this car, there is no tamper work here, very similar situation to the front of the car. However, there is quite a nice amount of detail in the actual metal casting itself. First of all, we do have the rear light bar, a very unique and distinguishable feature of this Charger from 2020. Obviously that is not tampered as I've said, but you could add your own details using Sharpie acrylic paints. You can also see the license plate holders in the metal casting as well. Once again, you could add your own details, but this time using something more like a permanent sticker. I will also mention that the diffuser as well as the exhaust of this car are created using the black base plastic. You can also get a nice look at those massive wide arches on the rear as well as on the front of the car from this angle. It looks fantastic, and obviously those arches are in the actual metal casting itself and are painted in the metallic purple which the rest of the body of this car receives. A few final things I do want to mention about the rear of this car. The first thing I'm going to mention is that lovely ducktail spoiler which does feature on this casting. Really nice look, and obviously is accurate to the real life car. You can also see some small rear vents are actually in the metal casting as well. Really nice to see that extra level of detail, even though they do not receive any tamper, nor do they actually lead anywhere. Anyways, that's it for the rear of the car. Now onto the top of the car. Alright, so taking a look at the top of this car, or the final side of this car, there is not a whole lot more detail that I haven't already mentioned. The one thing that I do want to mention is that shark fin aerial which features in the metal casting itself. Obviously that shark fin aerial is painted in a metallic purple colour. Really nice to see that little detail there. And you can see that continuation of those 4 tampered stripes. One final thing I do want to mention about this car is this car does not feature any windshield wipers, unfortunately. It is a very small detail for me and doesn't make or break the car. However, it definitely would have been nice to have seen this on this car, especially with it being a newer casting. I definitely think that is a small miss from the Hot Wheels team. With that and the wing mirrors missing combined, is definitely going to affect my overall rating. But anyways, that is it for the showcase of this car. Now on to my review and final thoughts on this thing. Alright, so now it's time for my final thoughts and review on this car. I really do like this casting. It is unfortunate to not see any wing mirrors on such a new casting, and no windshield wipers either. I don't know what Hot Wheels were doing with the missing details here. It would have been very easy to have added wing mirrors, as they definitely wouldn't have fallen off in the packaging or even in the manufacturing process, as the actual widest part of this car would definitely have been the arches, and there is no real excuse for not adding any windshield wipers, especially on such a modern casting as I've already said. But enough rambling about that. As for the actual colour choice on this casting, I think it's executed perfectly. I think it suits this car fantastic. I also do like the tamper work a lot. Those iconic stripes on the hood and the top of this car just look fantastic. And as for the side tamper work, it's very unique and an interesting take. I really do like the look of that. I think it does highlight the lines of this car fantastically. One final thing I do want to mention about what I love about this car is the lovely vents on the hood. I think they look very realistic and do add to that extra level of detail. But anyways, that's enough of me talking about how much I love this car and the little flaws with this casting. Now, what do I actually rate this car out of 10? So what is my score? It's going to be a very solid and respectable 8.5 out of 10. The reason why it is so low is simply because there are no wing mirrors, which kind of make this car look a little bit goofy, but also there are no windshield wipers. Those two factors combined are going to affect my score. But other than that, obviously there's no headlights as well, which is a small thing missing, but it is a mainline, so that is what you kind of expect. But yeah, if those two details were on this car, I would have easily given this car a 9.5 out of 10. It is a big shame that they're not there, and hopefully if Hot Wheels ever do a retool of this car, they do add them in the future. But anyways, that's it for this video. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Remember to also press that notification bell so you do not miss any new uploads. Remember, you can also share this video with any friends, family, or any groups who may be interested. But remember, don't feel pressured to if you don't feel like you have anybody who may be interested. You watching this video all the way to the end means so much to me, and I really do thank you for making it all the way up until this point. But anyways, that is it for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye everyone.